Hello and welcome to today's webinar on the Stova website builder. I am your host and trainer today, Steve McGillivray. I work in the ASU office of University Events and Protocol. That's right, I work right here at ASU. I do not work for Stova, although it often sounds like it, but I've been using Stova here at ASU for 6 years. That's why. And happy to present to you this fairly new module to the Stova platform of Website Builder. Before I launch in and to give people a little bit more time to come in, I'll do some little housekeeping. First off, this session is being recorded, as you may have heard, and the link to the webinar video will be provided to you, sent via email, a link to that video. Usually we get that out within 24 or 48 hours after the webinar is over. Sorry, I was reading my note here about Stova. And that Stova, before it was Stova, was known as Aventry. And before it was Aventry, it was eTouches. And you may still see those terms as we go through our demonstration today, but do not be alarmed. It's still the same platform we've been using here at ASU. So whether you see Stova, Aventry, or eTouches, it's all good. Also, just to let you know that this is more of an introduction class to Website Builder. We will be covering a lot, but there will be some things that are out of scope of this training. And that as we go through the demo, if you have questions, feel free to interrupt me. You can either unmute your microphone, or if you want to post a question to chat. The other account admins, Laura and Marissa, are on board with us today, so they'll be keeping an eye on that for us and flagging me if something comes up that I don't notice. So with that, without further ado, let's start talking about the website builder. So today, we're going to be introduced to the module. We're going to learn how to create a new website using this feature. We're going to show you how to apply ASU branding to this website, or just show you how to change the look and feel if you have other branding needs, how to manage web pages within this module, and most importantly, how to add and edit text, images, video files, buttons, and widgets using this feature. Okay. As a way of introduction, if you have taken any of our other master classes or main classes, we have mentioned that the Stova platform is comprised of core modules, and core modules are modules that can work by themselves, independent of any other modules in the system, or they can be linked to other core modules in Stova. In this case, you can either create a website that's a standalone website, or if you would like to link that website to a registration site. Okay, that's its purpose, to create a website, usually for event promotions and directing people to your event registration site. But if you have other reasons for using a website, it can be standalone. Now, considerations for using the website builder module, number one is, do you need it? And you don't have to use the module. If your department or unit already has ASU branded websites and you think that's a better place to promote your events, absolutely, you can use that. You would just give your web designer the event URL from your registration site to put behind a button there. But if you do not have, say, an internal marketing team handling web development for your unit, or you just want to manage the site yourself, or you have some special needs, absolutely, Website Builder is included with the Stova platform and free for you to use. So before we begin, I'm going to pretend that you know nothing about website design, just so we can start on the same foot. And so I wanted to start off with a few terms we're going to talk about as we go through the system, because we're going to talk about sort of technical things and we're going to talk about design issues together in this platform. First of all, when we talk about a site, we're talking about the website you're creating. And usually a website contains at least one page, but can contain many pages under its, say, main URL domain, right? Now that's just general website design terms. Now we get into some terms that are specific to Website Builder. The first term is container. Inside Website Builder, a container is how you format the layout of your website. Where does the text appear? Where do images appear? How are they organized next to each other? What does it look like as you go scroll your pages up? Those are containers, and inside containers is the actual content, whether that's text or an image or a video player or a button. Text, image, and buttons and video, those are the content. Okay, so those first four terms are going to be working together, which you'll see in a moment as we get into the system. But something unique unique to the platform is this thing called a widget. And in Website Builder, a widget is a piece of programming that has a specific purpose, such as bringing your agenda or sessions from your registration site into your website. So special programs that are available to you. Now, we won't get into the details of how to program widgets. That is out of scope, but we will chat a bit about what widgets are available. The last thing I just want to mention are some website style terms that we're going to bump into. One of them is hero, usually used for a hero image. And if you've seen ASU's websites or worked in WebSpark 2, you've seen these. It's usually the dominant image at the top of the page. Usually the image goes from side of the screen to the other side of the screen. That's known as a hero image. And then the other design term you'll bump into is called parallax. And that's a graphics effect where an image on your website stays in place so that as you scroll, content may cover it up. Okay, that's parallax. I wanted to give you sort of a visual representation of those first four especially. So as I said, you have your website. Inside your website is going to be at least one web page. And then on your web page is going to be first a container. That's the next foundation of what you're going to build. And then inside the container is your content. Now that looks simple, but it gets complicated rather quickly because, as I said, you can have more than one page on your website, but also inside your web pages, you could have more than one container. And inside your container, you could have more than one content block. Okay. I wanted to give you that as sort of a visual representation of how things work inside of Website Builder. Okay, so we're not really going to be dealing with this a lot, but just sort of for reference, I am going to be using a registration site I was creating during our masterclass series earlier this term. It was for a big conference and expo, and the purpose of the website is to promote this to the general public. I actually might create some pages for the exhibits or the exhibitors to use as well. And this page can display sessions and speakers from my registration site. So before I jump in, just wanted to double check if there are any questions before we get started from that general explanation. I didn't think there would be any, but I will take this moment to pause. And seeing none and hearing none, let's dive into Website Builder. Actually, I have one other piece of housekeeping I forgot to mention. So in previous versions of Stova, there was a module that I called an event enhancement module, and it was called the website module. You may still see it in the list of enhancement modules on a registration site in the upper right-hand corner. So this new module replaces that. If you were trying to activate the website module now on a registration site, you would probably get a message that says, you should start using Website Builder. But I believe if you have a site that already activated the old website module and you just cloned it, I believe you can still access and use that website module, although we recommend strongly that you begin to move your events over to Website Builder. Okay, now let's get started. As usual, I start on the support page and log into my account with my ASU Right ID. And here we are. As usual, we come into the registration module. To get to Website Builder, again, it's a core module. So there are actually two ways to create a website in Website Builder. I can either do it from inside the module by clicking on the hamburger icon, opening the hidden menu, and going to all websites, or alternatively, if I am going to create a website that's linked to a registration site, I can also go into my registration site, go to the overview page. And if I just click the name from the event listing, I'm going right into the overview page. Lovely. And then down here, as I've mentioned in overview page trainings, besides seeing your registrations, here are the different core modules that you can link to. Website Builder is the first one. This is for marketing module, emails, and survey module. So you can create a linked website in Website Builder straight from your registration site. Let me do that now. And now I'm in Website Builder. I would have gotten here the same way if I had clicked the hamburger, gone to all websites. I would have seen a button that says create new website, and you're fine to click that button because it opens up here in the create new website wizard. So what it's showing you here, first off, information that it's asking for a website name. It's a required field, so I need to provide a name for this website before I can do anything else. On the right are a series of templates provided by Stova. And at the bottom is the button for create website or to cancel this whole process if I didn't want to create a website. You'll notice the create website button is gray. And I've got to do two things. I've got to fill in this required field and I have to select a template. So let's call this, let's see if we can spell it. There we go. Now it has already provided the event number here. If this was blank, if I had gone the other way and created a brand new website, this is where I could put the number and locate my event registration. We're going to start as an active website. That's lovely. And here's a place where I can select which folder it goes into. By default, because I clicked from the registration site, it's going to go in the top level folder in the Website Builder module listing. But if I wanted to move it, I could. And of course, there is a listing, just like event listing, there's a listing of websites. So I can do a drag and drop feature as well. Way to add folders, all that fun stuff. Well, as I said, remember I warned you about Eventry showing up? Here it is the first time. It's still Eventry. They still haven't branded this for Stova, but that's okay. So here are templates. You could start with this. They call it a blank template, but just a blank page. Your first time out, if you're working in Website Builder, I suggest you start by looking at a template. Start with a template. Do what we're going to do today and kind of browse it and tear it apart and see how it's put together. Because it can be rather daunting trying to use this your first time in. Okay, so I give you about 20 different templates, and to see what a template looks like, they give you a preview feature here. That little eyeball is a preview. If you click on that, it will open up a preview page where you can see all the different content and layout with a lot of placeholder images and text inside. Okay. And you can do that for each of these and find the one that's closest to your desires. I like to start with template number 10, and I simply click on it. There's the plus sign, and now the create website button is ready. Want to see anything else here that I need to show out? Nope. Click create website, and here we go. Now, some people asked us, are you going to create ASU templates here? And we don't have to. And I'll show you why in a minute. I think I clicked the button. Did it take off or did it not? Maybe get a little latency in the program here. Okay, this did not happen in rehearsal. So let me just give this whole page a refresh. And try it again. And again, I like number 10 and go. There we go. Little hiccup. Just had our system glitch. Okay. So now we've created our website. In the editor, we are in the website editor portion of this. A few things have happened. Just like in event registration, when you create a new registration site, you're given a new name and a number. Same thing over here. There's the name I entered for the name of this website, and I have a specific new number just for the website, okay? Another way to find out where this website is located by holding your mouse over the I. Lovely. And over on the, I see my head bubbles in the way. Over on the right is the URL for the website. So you create a separate URL for your website you're creating, separate from the registration site event URL. So don't get the two confused. All right. Next below that, asking for page. Now this is actually how I navigate between the pages I'm building in the website. Every template will give you 4 pages by default: a home page, something for the speakers, a venue page, and an agenda page. But these links don't work in the editor window here. To navigate here in the editor, you would click here on page and then select the web page you want to transition to for editing. Okay. You can see it in languages here. They also provide a preview feature. Now this works similar to preview event in event registration. Click on that and you will go into a preview mode. Nothing works here. You still have to navigate page by page up here, but it gives you a, as I said, sort of a preview event view of this. And it also gives you a way to look at your website in a couple of different formats. Here in the center, you see we have 3. We have desktop, tablet, and phone. Desktop is for people looking at your website on a computer through a browser, but they could also be looking through a mobile device. So you can click tablet to see what it looks like on a tablet. Or phones, on what does this look like on people's phones. Now you can use this in the system to adjust the view of your web pages and how they appear on these devices, if you like. This whole website design is something called responsive website design. So design it right, and the website is smart enough to know what it should look like on those 3 different devices. To get out of preview, just click on the button again, and now you're back in the editor. After you have finished editing your pages and you're ready to move them from the editor to the actual website, you'll want to use the Save and Publish button. Pull down here and it gives you 3 options. Saving means you're just going to save your changes, but you're not going to move your changes from your editor to your website. You're still a work in progress. You can save your work and come back later. Or if you are ready to move the content you've just edited or the page you've just contented to the website, you can click Publish Page. And if you've done edits on multiple pages, you may want to move them all to the website. That's what the Publish All button is for. The system will also give you some information on where you are at as far as a versioning. So we started with a published page that's by the system. We are now in the first new revision. And at some point, we're going to either save this or publish this page or publish the whole site. If I were to go to the URL right now, I would just see a blank page. Nothing has been published. All right. Also on this bar is the first settings feature you will see. This is for website settings. Wherever you see a widget that is controlling the settings of that particular section. And remember, we said there's sites, there are pages, there are containers, there's content. Each of those has different settings. Go ahead, bubble back up. The other image there is just full screen. If you want to see this editor in full screen, you can do that as well. Now, going from, again, top left to right, below the page navigation feature is this feature, which is your toolbar. And there are really three editor tools to use. One is navigation. And now we're getting the first glimpse of that organization I was showing you earlier. So we are in the site. These are the different, we're in the home page. And these are the containers. We have a navigation container. We have a main content container. The venue is a container, venue image. And then inside the containers, we're seeing the organization of the layout, and there we're seeing the content. Okay, so in web design, it's not uncommon to separate layout settings from content settings, and that's what we're seeing here. Okay. Next down here is the add content. We'll be coming to this later when we get to the content section, but this is how we're going to add both containers and content to our page. Below that are page settings. And for our site, where I want to begin with customizing this site is in the look and feel and in the domain name. So let's start with look and feel. Remember, I said that we're not going to create templates for special ASU things. We don't have to, because Website Builder uses the same theme editor technology that registration site does. So we already have themes built in. I want to get rid of my head bubble to show you, and it should look a little familiar. Here over on the right is theme editor customizing column. And below the Stova color schemes, which you can use, here are the Your Theme section, and inside there you'll find, or should find, it's really causing me issues today. Let's try another refresh of this page. Thank you. There we go. Here are the same themes that you can select when you're in event registration. So if you want to use a background image, feel free. That's what those names are usually behind. But for my purposes today, I'm going to use just a solid color background and give it a few seconds. And now it's adapted all the pre-programming of our theme for our site. Now, if you want to go more deeply into changing anything, background images, color schemes, fonts, if you want to, you can. It's separated by section down here. That is definitely outside of our scope today. If you have questions about this, feel free to reach out to either myself or to Stova support. But generally, I think most users are going to just stick to the ASU pre-branded themes, or one of the Stova themes. But it is the same convention as event registration. When you make a change here, you want to click the Save button before you leave the page. Okay. Now to get back to the editor, I would just use the Back to Editor button. It's popped up here when I went into Theme Editor. Let me also just finish a little bit with navigation because I kind of glossed over it. Down at the very bottom, you'll see some advanced features: layout editor, CSS, JS, that stands for JavaScript. These are more advanced um, web builder, web technology. So if you have a web developer and he wants to do more than we do in theme editor, or the theme editor seems to do, you absolutely can create your own codes, or they can. And again, this is out of scope. That's advanced look and feel, but I just wanted to point out that they are available. So look and feel affects the entire site. The other thing that affects the entire site is that event domain. Here we have all out of the box the eventcloud.com domain, and we would like to have our ASU branded domain. You can do that by going to website settings. Again, this affects the entire website. Now, when I click there, I go to this first general page. So if I need to change the website name, I can do it here. If I need to deactivate this page, I can do that. I need to really link it to a different registration site, I can. Another place to move the site to a different folder in Stova, I can do that. But for all I'm going to focus on right now is that URL, and that's under advanced settings. And here I can select my website domain. Lovely. And if I wanted to, I could make it a short link. I know because I've done this before that it's going to fail. So let's try a different name, because it will do a search if that domain is available to me. It did a little quick. I don't know if you saw that. It very quickly flashed URL is available. I think I just have to tab out of there. Anyway, so now you can see in the top special events at ASU with my short link. And that's all I'm going to do with the permissions here. If you want to look at other settings, feel free to explore that on your own. Okay, so now I've dealt with the site settings. Now let's talk about the page settings. So I'm going to go to the page settings. And I don't usually adjust many of the settings found here. What I want to point out navigation-wise, so here are the different pages currently available. And this is the formatting done within the page itself. It's going full width. Different templates may select different options. But in general, I don't worry about this. One thing I do worry about is whether or not this is visible in the footer menu, and depending on the template and the footer feature used, will determine if these pages show up there at all. But what I want to do is show you how to add pages and how to delete pages. Now, I could just customize these different pages. We use the ones that they have provided me for my purposes, but I think it's good to know how to add your own pages and how to delete pages that you may no longer need. So just do the easy one first, deleting. I'm going to just select one. Here's a venue. And down there, you can see I have the delete button. And just like that, it's moved delete. Now, even though it shows it to me here, as far as I know, I can click on it, but I cannot go back to that page. I can just delete it off this list. But there's no way to reactivate it after it's been deleted. Okay. Now to add, yes, now you can use one of the big blue buttons. You can use the add button. Let's add a page for my exhibitors. It's asking me if what I'm creating here will use global content. So there are sections, certain containers that are marked as global and show up on every page. The menu bar, for example, do I want to use those? So I'm going to keep that checked. You can see how, I click on the layout here, I've got this list. You can see how that matches these options down here. I can change this later, but I'm going to go for what every other page is using right now, full width. And then the position refers to where do I want this page to show up on this list on the left. I'm currently in agenda. Do I want that to go above the page I selected? Do I want this to go to the very top? above home page? Do I want to go on the bottom? I'll take the bottom, and that's it. And I can hit add. And do we have another system glitch, or my goodness? Let me try it again. Oh, there we go. Just needed a little extra time, a little latency. So a couple things have happened. It took the name I entered and made that the URL path. So it's going to be that domain name followed by this, which is just fine. If I wanted to shorten that or change it, I could do that now. I'm going to keep these as the defaults. And I can either go back to edit content, or I can hit this button, edit content. Both will get me back to the page editor. Not much to worry about page settings wise. Though I notice it when I did pick the page editor, it took me back to the home page, which is fine. If I wanted to go back and start working on exhibitors, again, I would click here and it is in the list. Wonderful. All right. That's adding, deleting pages. So now let's get into some of the real fun stuff, containers. And we're actually seeing containers right now. It's these sections that as I move my mouse over them, you're seeing an image, you're seeing a name, them called something in the upper left-hand corner. As I scroll up, oh, by the way, there's that parallax effect I'm talking about. Notice how this image stays put as I move my content up. That's parallax. So this is a container for the venues, and some designer named it this. Okay, there's not a venue container I could pull from the side. All right, so it's a way for you to organize and label things for your own purposes. And when I click on a container, now I'm starting to see some of the features and settings of this particular container. The hero image is what it's called. Top toolbar, again, gives us this name. It also gives us a little icon. This is a way for us to move containers around. So if I wanted to create a container and it slipped down here, I can click on it and move it around my page. I can only move it around on this page. I can't move it to another page. Okay. You're also seeing this little box called global. This is how the system knows if a piece of content or container is supposed to show up on more than one page. If I was to click on menu bar, that has global on. Yeah, that makes sense. This particular one is unique for the home page, so global. If I like the layout of this container, I can click duplicate and it will create a clone of this particular container. And next to that is the options. We're going to get into that in a minute. Now, what you're also seeing are some boxes with dotted lines, and this is showing the content blocks. Just as I was showing you containers by holding my mouse over, if I hold my mouse over these container blocks, it's going to show me what this content block is. Custom content usually means text. When you click on an image block, I didn't mean to go into it, but when you click on an image, you go right into an image editor. We'll get into that in a minute. Custom content, more text, and then a button. So that is all showing up in this layout. But how do I control this layout? You know, it's like, oh, there's something else happening there. What is that? So here's how we talk about the layout options of a container. You click on options. And now we are seeing the first settings for containers, and containers are comprised of rows and column. You're going to have at least one row. And then you add columns where you want to see content. And you decide, are those columns going to be hidden, so they just use as spacers, or are there a column where you're going to add content? You don't add the content here. Again, you're just focused on layout. So we have a big column on the left where I can't put any content, a column on the right where I can put content, and another column on the far right for spacing purposes. So I'm going to change this up. So I would like to put an image on this side. And to do that, first thing I do is need to make some room for my column. To do that, I'm going to click the minus sign here. And you notice that if I hold my mouse over these things, there are some tool tips that pop up if you don't remember that later. So I'm going to make a column on this side that's about the same size as the far right. Add as a kind of a spacer. That looks right. So there's my content here. I'm going to make this block will become my new content block on the right. I'm going to make that a little wider. I'm going to keep that size there for now. And I have this space over here, but I need to put something there, or I should put something there to make sure the system does not get confused. And that would be adding another column. Now it added it the same size, but I would like it to be that spacer size. Again, I'm going to make it a little smaller here. And I'm just going to use the plus button on these to kind of, there we go, to make my row all fit as you see it here. If I was to go any larger, which I could, it would break the row, and I don't want that to happen in my design. So I'm just going to bring that back down. Lovely. All right, so some things are happening here. I see a column is hidden here. This has content, another hidden column, and this, not sure what's going on there. What is this hidden column business? Well, if I want to prevent content from showing up in a column, I can make it hidden. To make it hidden, again, you see another widget on the column, and there's the feature, hide a column. So I want to hide this column. Lovely. But I want to make this column open for content. So I'm going to go into the widget and uncheck it. There. And the column is empty. It's aware that I've not put any content inside this column back on the previous page. So now this is the way I would like it. I'm going to hit save, go back to my editor, and you see I've moved my content over here. I would like to move all this stuff right back to where it was, so I can just click on it, find that little grabber toolbar, and then move it to where I can see that little highlighted line. That means you're okay to drop things in that area. There we go. I just had to move I didn't have to click on it, I just had to move my mouse over it. Now I can grab that and move that underneath there. I'm just going to recreate what I had. There we go. Lovely. So I can see my content is still over here. And now the system's showing me, yeah, you still have an open space here for new content ready to go. Let's talk about at least one little warning for you. So again, custom content. I don't know why they call it custom content, because it's meant to be just for text, or at least I think it is. And even though you have an add image feature similar to HTML content editor back from registration, you should not add an image to a text field. As I said, these websites are responsive design, and if you put an image into a text field, it will not resize, or the system cannot resize it to the different formats of desktop, tablet, or phone. To add an image, you should add a new content. Now, as I said, you can have a container that contains multiple pieces of content. As we see here, we've got 4 different ones, and one's an image. So that's what you want to use, is an image content. So now I'm going to transition into the into adding content. And I'm going to add content. I'm going to add, there we go, media image. Just going to grab it, click, or click, drag, and drop where I want to put an image. And it, since this is a brand new image, it automatically opens into my image browser. And same notes as event registration, you want to go into your unit folder before you upload any images. Let's pick a folder and upload images and show you how you do that quickly. I can add up to 20 at the same time. So let's do that. Go into my website builder. There's my graphics, and might be using any of these. I'm going to upload all my images right now and hit upload image. And now it's asking me, okay, which one did you want to be your image in there? Here, I want to use my logo. Okay, so it selected my image. I can choose if I want that image to be left justified, resized a certain way. If I want to link that image to something, I could link it to, right, a page. I can link it to a custom URL. You can also add alt text for the screen readers. For now, I'm just going to move ahead and hit save. And now I've added that image to my, and if I click it, I am in the image content type. If I wanted to change that image, I would just need to double click on it. And now this will reopen. I can select or upload a new image to replace it. In fact, let's talk about that because we have this background image. Where is that located in Website Builder? Well, it's part of the container. So we're going to go back to options. And you notice I've got two tabs, one about the container. This is just talking about format here. On the options tab, this is where I can access the background image. So if I want to replace this file, I'm going to choose a new file. I already uploaded it. There we go. And I can decide, I've got some options here of how this can be affect this image. Do I want this to scroll? Do I want to use parallax? This is how I control of that feature. I'm going to keep it for the defaults. But I did want to mention something just in passing because this might trip you up. So again, these are Stova design templates, and their designers, for better or worse, are using some advanced formatting techniques here. They have got a program in the background, and these are called CSS classes. And these classes are looking at a file in the background that says this is what you should be doing when you run into this class. And the reason I mention it is especially for this padding. I'm going to save this so you get an idea what this looks like. Okay, there's my new background image. Still got parallax. Lovely. I wanted to give you a little tutorial on website stuff. So over here on the right, you see a margin and you see padding. What's the difference? With a margin, you're affecting the whole container. But you see what it's done is my image has been shrunk, and now I have this space outside the container where nothing can go. Okay, that is the margin. Padding, there's sort of the margin on the inside. So I'm going to basically delete these, and let's put a little padding on the inside. Do you have to use padding? No. I mean, as you see, it's already in the site. In fact, and I should have probably done it first. I'm going to remove this coding. If I remove the coding, the system won't look at it anymore about padding. So I've got these numbers on the inside. That is padding, and now I hit save. And now it's harder to see, but there's space added, 100 pixels, top, bottom, and sides. If I just wanted space, top, and bottom, I could do that. Just leave the left and right fields blank and just put values in the top and bottom values. But that's the difference between margin and padding. So let's see, what next? We've transitioned to content. A couple other notes I want to make. So again, I mentioned custom content is text. And as you can see, we can pull merge codes from the registration site, the linked registration site. However, the only way I can have found in Website Builder to access those merge codes is by clicking the merge fields button and then locating the merge code you need through its merge field selector feature of the toolbar. But inside content, you still have access to pre-formatted text, and to edit text, you simply start typing. And you can format that however you like. Okay, so that's for text. Now the button feature, I'll leave this open so you can see all these different content types that we've got. For a button is a unique program. You click on it and you decide what is your button supposed to do. Is it connected to your new registration site? Is it connected to the modify registration permissions? I wouldn't recommend that on a website, but you could do it. Is it a custom link? Perhaps you want to add a link to a sponsor or to a partner site or to your unit page, and you want to do that as a button. You could do that and provide a unique URL. I'm going to use the new registration button, and you notice the options change. It knows already what my site is, and what do I want this to say? Register now. Okay, I can change the alignment if I want that to be centered. And that's not on the page, that is inside the content block as far as alignment goes. And once I am done, I've edited that. So now we've talked, so we talked about content, we kind of jumped into content, but I also want to show you how you can change containers inside of a page. And for that, I'm going to go back to our new page. Oop, yeah, there it is, exhibitors. First thing I want to point out is you'll notice I created a new page, but it's not showing up automatically in my menu. This is a kind of a, it's not called here, one over here. This is a widget, and you do have to add those pages automatically, or manually, sorry, by hitting customize. But it does remember, or does know that I have other pages I've created. So if I select page here, it's going to give me a list on the right on what web pages are available. There we go. There's my exhibitor. Now it's been added. But as you see with add menu, so there's another way of adding specific URLs to take people off site, a special drop-down menu, email links, that kind of thing, if you want to add them to your menu. So it's already saved. I don't have a save. I can go back now. Now it's added there. Lovely. Now I created this page. I did not add this content. Where did this come from? This is all global content. These were marked on other pages as global. And if I edit anything here and it's still marked global, it will change it on the other pages as well. Be aware of that. Okay for me to do it here in menu, but that may not be what I want to do on this particular page. I might have just want to use this as a foundation for specific content here. I did mention it, but as you can see, you can delete containers. If it's global though, and I try to delete, it's going to give you a warning. Hey, if you delete this global content, it's going to delete it from all of your pages. It's like, nah, I don't want to do that. To remove it just from one page, just turn global off of this page. It's only affecting this page. Now you can delete it. Now it's not going to give you the really bad warning. Just make sure you know what you're doing warning. And there we go. That container is gone. So let's talk about adding your own containers. I would always add a container before I add content. I've seen some units, some folks grab custom content or an image and go right into a site, and you can do that, but what you're doing is putting that content type as a container is going to go screen to screen, and that is not a good look. So you have two tools for adding a container. One is called container, and the other is the pre-built container. Let me just show you what the container one does. And just like the drag and drop features elsewhere, when I move it around, I see these little blue lines where I can drop it. And this is what it asks me. How do you want your first row to look like, and these are your options to start. And then you will have to manually add content to that. That's the way you want to roll. That's fine. But an easier way is to use the pre-built container feature. Click, hold, and drag, and drop. And now you're seeing a lot of pre-built formatting options. Text grids, how many columns do you want? How do you want those columns to look? Lovely. Layouts, combination of text, buttons, placeholders for images or videos that you can use. If you're building new hero or parallax sections, typically for headers for most events, offer you a couple there. If you just need, you want to add some graphic elements to separate sections on a web page, start new sections, you want a spacer, that's there. I'm going to go to layouts. And let's add this one. I click on it, and it's been added here. I'm just going to jump into formatting options to show you, I think, a little clearer what that padding option did, because I really didn't show you before and after. You saw the before on this one. There's the after, little space, top and bottom, and that's all I added, top and bottom. Okay, so I can go in here and start editing my custom text. If it doesn't show up the first time you click, just click again. The video feature is kind of cool in that first you just have to host the video on YouTube, and you need, and here's a note because I didn't know it before, you have to have the video public. Okay, on YouTube, you decide if it's a private or an unlisted or a public. I believe it has to be public or unlisted. It can't be private. Paste the URL there. Hits what? Yes, it is. I copy. Oh, sorry, not that one. Sorry, a different quick link. I have a little utility that I pre-program with these. And it should be, oh, it's W. There we go. That is a YouTube. Wow, it's smarter than I thought. That's the video I wanted to show. What's nice about this feature is it doesn't take you to YouTube. It just plays the video here on the website. Pretty cool. Well, something I didn't mention, and I think it's worth mentioning, going into this layout, I dealt with a one column or a one row container. You can have more than one row. If you want to format the layout of a container a different way, yes, you can add more rows, and then you create columns for that content. Anything else here? So you can see different media as we're talking about. Showed you video, showed you button, showed you image. Gallery, if you have a series of photos you'd like to show people, that's what the gallery is for. And then finally we come to this last bit, which will end on the widgets. And I think I'll show you by publishing our page. Let's say my website's ready at least to move forward. I'm going to publish the entire site. This might take a little time. And I'm not going to go into talking about the programming of these widgets, but I do want to show you what they do, especially these first two. Are you listening to me? Okay, you are listening to me. Okay. Speakers and the agenda widgets pull information from the event registration site. As the name implies, it's going to pull the agenda, or it's going to pull speakers from the speakers tab back from the registration site. This might, okay. So it did publish, and now I can click this URL, and there is my first draft of this site. Okay. On the agenda page, this is what the agenda widget looks like. This look and feel can be customized inside the widget itself. But what's a kind of a nice feature here is that your attendees can come in here and select their sessions here. And when they click the register now button, the system remembers their selections and will add them when they get to that point in the registration site. Speakers, as I said, are pulling information from the speakers widget. I don't have any, it's pulling my names. I don't have any images in my site at the moment. So let's actually end the session. We'll transition to, let me jump ahead to the last slide. As we talk about widgets. So again, programming them is out of scope of this training, but as I mentioned, you've got two that connect to the registration site, speakers, and agenda. There's also a sponsors widget, and those sponsors are listed on the account level. So if you'd like to use that widget, you would provide us with a list of sponsors you want us to add. You can include a logo and a URL. And then when you activate that widget, you're able to select which sponsors in the ever-growing list of sponsors show up on your site. There's also a subscribe widget, which would allow your registrants to add their name to a mailing list in the marketing module. And then there is a calendar widget. I don't know how much use it is. I don't know how much you can filter. I think it might go to the entire account, ASU account level. But I just mentioned that's what it does. And I have not experimented with that particular module to see what its limits are. So, and with that, we're going to wrap up and open this up for questions. I know it was a lot. And again, we recorded this session. We will send you the link to the recording. But I just want to open this up. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute your microphone or post a question in the chat. Or if this has just been too much for you to soak in the last hour and you think of questions after you sign off, happens to me all the time. You can always reach out to us after the webinars at any time. You can post a question in the Slack channel we have for ASU Stova users. You can check out our support site to answer your questions about Stova in particular. Send us an email at stova@asu.edu or schedule some time with our team to answer your questions about anything about Stova. Or we can schedule a consultation to deal with your specific problems. And as always, you're free to send emails or contact Stova support about this or any other features of Stova. So I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, and we're just a couple minutes before the end of the session, so I'm just going to let you go. Hope you found this helpful. One last piece of shameless self-promotion. We have one more webinar this term. Next Tuesday, we'll be talking all about the reporting features inside event registration. And then we hope to announce our new webinar schedule for the spring before we all leave for the Christmas holidays. So stay tuned. Those will be posted on our Slack channel. So I'm going to let you go. Everyone, have a good rest of your day.